Tank. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? Manchester United have won a significant transfer battle this week, and it's something many of you have been talking about for quite a while. Also, a United legend says who he thinks the next Manchester United manager should be, and it's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Lots of other things to talk about. Obviously, the big game tomorrow. Couple of youth stars been called up to the main Manchester United squad. Not who we would have expected, to be honest, but still very, very positive and exciting. Lots to get into, and it's the last Friday before Christmas. Pubs are heaving. I've been down the pub for the last few hours. It's absolutely heaving in my local. So I think everybody's in a good mood, which is great to see. Anyway, let's have a look. Let me just get rid of Restful Wings. Goodbye, twat. There we go. We don't want knobheads on the stream, do we? They just think they're welcome. You're not. Do one. Go and find your own club, twats. Anyway. Here we go. So Manchester United have received a significant transfer boost in the last few days. Effectively, what this comes down to is an agent and a journalist from France, Julien Lorenz, who's spoken to a couple of agents who've basically said that the change in manager at Manchester United has changed the dynamic across the transfer window massively. That over the last 18 months, there's many players that look at Manchester United, look at what's happened with Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial, two young stars who've basically gone backwards, who've been thrown under the bus publicly, and they look at the United situation and think, I don't want to go and play there. Now, all bets are off when it comes to Manchester United. Those young players, those young talents are looking at Manchester United with hungry eyes again. And that is absolutely fantastic for us as a football club. There's so many dynamics that are actually opening up this week and positives since Mourinho went. And I think for us as United fans, it's hard to grasp and gauge everything so quickly because we're initially just thinking this nightmare is over, this boring football's gone. Maybe we can, have a bit of excitement for the next 5 months. But actually, these things all start coming back to you. That things that we've discussed over the last few months about how, and many of you've said it. Young talent, young or flair talent will not want to come to Manchester United. Not when they see what's happened to Alexis Sanchez, what's happened with Paul Pogba, what's happened with Anthony Martial. Talented players will not want to come and play for Manchester United and Jose Mourinho. No matter how great our history is, no matter how big our club is, people will not want to come to Manchester United under Mourinho. But those days are gone. They are gone. And it's a great point. And it's one, up until a couple of hours ago when I read it, I was like, actually, you know what? That is a massive boost for Manchester United. And it's not something that I'd had time to think about yet because there's so many other positives going on. For example, like getting the best out of what we've got. I can't wait for Alexis Sanchez to come back. And there's a significant bit of news about Sanchez as well. But, this is the thing. All bets are off with Manchester United now. If you are, and I'm not saying we're going to sign Ousmane Dembele or Christian Pulisic or Leon Bailey or even Kylian Mbappe. I'm not saying we're going to sign that sort of player. But suddenly, if United had the money maybe 6 months ago and they're going, Kylian, do you want to come to Manchester United? He's like, I love the club. I think it looks great. I love the shirt. It is my colour, but I do not like that Portuguese and negative prat you've got in charge. No way, Jose. And he wouldn't come to us. But now it would be like, you know what? What's your plans in the summer? We're thinking about getting Zidane. Lovely. That sounds really good. And I quite like Solskjaer. He looks like he just wants to have a bit of fun for 5 months. But in the summer, you're going to get Zidane. That's what we're thinking about. Brilliant. I'll think about it. And I will answer your call next time because I wouldn't have answered it before with Mourinho in charge. And I think that's where we are. And it's another big positive. United now suddenly become an attractive proposition. And I was reading something the other day about Pulisic, that Atletico Madrid had made a bid for Pulisic, but it's been thrown out because he's already agreed to join a Premier League club. See, I think we've missed that boat because if Pulisic has already agreed to come to somebody, it would not have been us because we obviously have only just got rid of Mourinho and we may miss out on Pulisic, and I think he's probably likely to go to Liverpool, possibly even Chelsea. But, better to get it done now than later. Can't explain how happy I am with Jose sacking. Personally, I want to sign Ollie on a 6-year deal after that press conference. It's so strange hearing so much positives around the club. Thanks for that, Josh Bates, with the contribution. And I think this is Red Baron. He says, hi Mark, have you seen The Room? I did not hit her. Thanks for the contribution. Absolutely not many things go over my head, but maybe it's the booze. That's whooshed straight over my head completely. But no, I wouldn't give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a 6-year contract, to be honest. I'm happy with him having 6 months and let's see where we're at. But I think mission accomplished for Ollie will be come in, positivity, and we move on. There's nothing better than if it works out for him and he ends up being our manager, but at the moment we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's talk about Paul Scholes. Let's talk about Paul Scholes next, then we'll do Sanchez. I want to interact with you a lot, and there's a few other things I need to talk about as well. Paul Scholes has come out. Look, I've got to be honest with you, and this is my opinion, and take it or leave it. I don't really care, because I am going to say... that was good. Christmas. It's Christmas time. I don't condone drinking. That could have been lemonade. It could be a can with lemonade in it. You don't know what's in it. Let's have another drink. So cold and refreshing. Lovely stuff. But, no, what I wanted to say is, look, everyone's entitled to an opinion, first of all, so I'm not criticising these people for having an opinion. But I do think the fans' reaction to Ollie has been absolutely brilliant. So much positivity. But all these United ex-players who've got their 2 pence worth over the last few months, some pro Mourinho, some against Mourinho, I haven't seen a lot of them coming out saying, what an appointment Solskjaer is. Let's wish him all the best. And I don't know why that is. I've seen a couple of them saying I wish him all the best, but is it heartfelt? A lot of them seem to be annoyed that Mourinho's gone. I mean, these are ex-United players. Do you not watch us? Do you not realise the shit we were in? There does seem to be, I wouldn't say a jealousy or bitterness, but there does seem to be a bit of a silence about Solskjaer. And I don't know whether that's a resentment towards the board. I don't know. But Red Baron says, why, Lisa? Why? I think he's in his own conversation here. But yeah, I mean, Aduntawa says maybe it's jealousy. I don't know. But there just seemed to be a little bit of silence there. Maybe they wanted the job. I don't know. But yeah, there seemed to be a bit of quiet. But Scholes has come out and said, and remember, Scholes was always quite vocal about Mourinho. I think Scholes is probably quite happy that Mourinho's gone. I think the problem that people like Scholes and Keane and Neville have is that they're always going to be on the outside looking in of United. I mean, Gary Neville said it himself. I don't think it's very likely that I'd get offered a job at Manchester United. And I detect that as well, that there's a bit of friction between United and Gary Neville. And I don't know why that is. Doesn't matter. He's still a United fan. He's still got an opinion. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. They're on the outside looking in. But Solskjaer is a big positive. And I really, really hope it works. But basically, Scholes, he's come out and said that... he thinks that Pochettino is the man that Manchester United need to go and get. And I do agree with that. But as days go by, and we haven't even had our first game under Solskjaer yet, but I am starting to think, and I did say this a couple of days ago, so I'm not flip-flopping here. I don't do that. But I am starting to think that if Solskjaer is a good manager and shows potential, genuine potential, give him the job. And I don't know what people think about that, but I am thinking give him the job. Red Baron says, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. It's Christmas and The Room is the best Christmas movie ever. You should give it a try. There you go. Red Baron. I think he's drunk. But yeah, I think that there is... I think United, when we think about what we're all about, like youth, we want to bring youth through. So why not bring a youthful manager through? And I know that, look, we haven't played a game yet, and I'm speaking hypothetically here. But when I look at this next 6 months, there's nowhere to hide. PSG home and away, that's tough. We've got to play Liverpool at home, we've got to play City at home, we've got to play Arsenal at the Emirates, we've got to go to Spurs, we've got to play Chelsea. There's a whole half a season at a very important time of the season. There's not going to be anywhere to hide for Solskjaer. And if he comes through that, I mean, I think he's got to get us top 4. I'm not saying he's got to beat PSG, but I think he's got to get us top 4. And if he does, and we play really good football, I'm tempted to say forget Zidane and Pochettino. I'm tempted to say this lad is not born and bred, but in a footballing sense, he's born and bred. He's a mini Sir Alex, and if it works, I know it's fantasy, but if it works, why would you turn your way? Imagine if Solskjaer gets us top 4. And the club say, thank you did a great job, we're now going with Zidane. I think, well, we'll never, we're walking away from something that we never know how good it could be. So that's my stance. But Scholes has come out and said Pochettino. Everyone's going to have their opinion, aren't they? Everyone's going to have their opinion. Pochettino to United makes me hard, says Jack Coleman. Sexual. Mark Wolf's coach is very good one, says Tony. Yeah, but we're never going to get him because his agent's the same as Jose Mourinho. What do you think about Rabiot, says Sean. I think it'd be very hard to do that deal. If Solskjaer does well, it would be an improvement on the other managers we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. Why not extend his contract, says Zotty Moon. Yeah, and I do agree with that, because I also think that the one thing we get with Solskjaer, which many of us would be very, very happy about, is that we get a player and a manager who knows our club inside out. And I think that is romantic, but it's what we want. The United way, I've heard fans saying the United way is dead. Stop living in the past. It's not dead. It's one of the most important things in football, the United way. So I don't agree with that. Virgil Haynes, he says he took a 6-month contract. If good, not why not have a 2-year extension? Andrew Staunton, if Ollie gets us playing well and getting results, give him the job. I agree. And Josh Bates, I'm with you with Ollie job. He has talked the talk. If he can walk the walk, he may even be the second coming of Fergie. Look, we are talking very, very hypothetically with Ollie. Definitely. We could lose tomorrow. Look, I'm going to put my hands up and say, we could draw tomorrow, we could lose tomorrow. We are on this positivity train, but if we win tomorrow, and my prediction is we will, then that is a significant step forward from what we've been doing in the very recent history. Forget Liverpool, because obviously they're way better than us, they're going for the title, but Crystal Palace at home was dreadful. Southampton away was dreadful. Arsenal at home was dreadful. We've been dreadful. So if we go and put in a performance tomorrow, Cardiff aren't even in the bottom 3. So it would be a really, really significant result. Anyway, I want to take lots of your comments because everyone's really enjoying it. Liverpool are winning already. What a surprise. But Sanchez has come out. Now, Alexis Sanchez, I was joking about this at lunchtime if you've not seen the preview. And I've got a couple of comments to read here as well. So the Sun have come out and said that Alexis Sanchez sent a WhatsApp or something to Rojo and some other players saying, I'll bet you that Jose Mourinho gets the sack. And there's a few people who I know. Stretty News, Dale, he said that he was aware of this a couple of months ago. And he's a journalist himself. You know what my angle is on it? And Alexis Sanchez has come out and said it's fake news. Again, I don't care. I don't really. Why does it matter if Alexis Sanchez has come out and said something about Mourinho's going to get the sack? All right, it's disrespectful. It's mutiny in the workplace. Blah 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 blah. I don't care. I mean, the press are just trying to turn us against Alexis Sanchez by putting that story out. Neil Custis is pro Jose Mourinho. I've sat at the same table with Neil Custis at an awards show 2 years ago. And we disagreed on Rooney, but it was a nice evening and we had a decent chat. I don't care about, if people want to get moody because I disagree with their opinion, I don't care. Jog on. But for me, I ain't got a problem with Neil Custis. Actually, some of the stuff he comes out with has been proved to be right. He was right about the Lukaku deal. He was right about Rooney. And maybe he's right about this Alexis Sanchez thing, but he's very pro-Mourinho. And there seems to be a lot of stories, because I think it was the Sun who put it out about Pogba. There's a lot of stories coming out from the Sun at the moment and some other outlets that are just very much about trying to turn fans, United fans, against United players. And this to me is illogical, because that's not how football has ever worked in the last 30 years. A manager gets sacked because they're in charge and players stay and tend to do well. That's, maybe it is unfair. Maybe it's unfair that certain players don't play for a manager, the manager gets sacked, then they play for the next manager and the team does well. Maybe that's not fair, but that's bloody life. That's the way it's been for ages. And in the case of Alexis Sanchez, he says he's not said it. Unless they can prove it, how are they going to prove it? But even if he did say it, I bet you that Mourinho's going to get the sack, I don't really care. He's a human being. So what? Alexis Sanchez probably hates playing for United under Mourinho. He's now really excited. So I don't care. If someone's got a problem with Jose Mourinho and they played for him, they didn't pick him, did they? So bloody what? I don't really give a shit. They've been proved right anyway. He was a crap manager. And I like Jose Mourinho. I thought he was going to be a good manager. But we're trying to rewrite history here, folks. We're living in a mythical world where people are trying to make Jose Mourinho the victim. I said this afternoon. Mourinho played negative football. He was negative in his press conferences. He was negative towards the fan base. He was always looking for excuses. We've put a new manager in who isn't looking for excuses, who is positive to the fan base, and we think is going to play positive football. It's not anybody's fault other than Jose Mourinho. He was the one who decided to be negative on the US tour, negative after getting knocked out of Sevilla, negative about certain players, negative about the transfer window. He was the one who's caused all these problems. And if certain players got fed up of his negativity, regardless of how much they're paid, So friggin' what? How negative have we been and how positive are we now? I think this is what it's all about. Shiraz Kamath Fitness says, watch the trailer of the United stand versus Arsenal Family TV. It's cringe. Also happy for you that you're buzzing after a long time. I've put it up on my Twitter feed at Mark Goldbridge. It's going up on Christmas Eve. The United stand played Arsenal Fan TV in October. And the video of it is going up on Christmas Eve, which is quite a good time for it to go up, isn't it? But the reality is, everybody knows pretty much what happens anyway. I'm just very happy from the footage I've seen that the incident that basically won us the game because it got in somebody's head and they lost their whole team lost their heads. I didn't get sent off for it. I was very subtle what I did, and even the video footage is quite inconclusive. So 1-0 to me. But let's have a look at the other comments. We've got a couple of super chats here. Nicholas P says, we haven't kicked a single ball in anger yet. We are so excited about the change that I feel like expectations are a bit higher than they should be. Let's all stay calm for now. Nicholas, you're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. And I tell you how relaxed I am about it, Nicholas. I've already said this. I'd rather have a 4-4 draw tomorrow than grind out a 1-0. I think a 4-4 draw would be more significant for us to go and score 4 goals than a 1-0 grind out win. I think it's all about the performance tomorrow. It's all about the way we play football. The result is, obviously we want to win. We want to cling on to some slim chance that we can get top 4. But I would be a liar if I said we can get top 4. I said 2 weeks ago when Mourinho was still here, we've already left it too late for a manager to come in and get top 4. And I do believe that. So for me, it's about scoring goals. It's about entertaining. And as I said, I'd take 4-4 tomorrow over a 1-0 crappy win. I would, because it's about building, entertainment and excitement. And, maybe we, I think I haven't said this yet, and I'm sure some people have said it. I think the thing we need to be keeping an eye on is the FA Cup. I think the FA Cup is probably very important to United this season, because I don't think we can get top 4. It'd be brilliant if we did. I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can win the Champions League. I think because it's a very tough draw, PSG, especially because the second leg is in Paris. So that's going to be very tough. And even if we did beat them, it's a very tough Champions League, and I don't think we've quite got the players to do it. But I'm excited about that. But the FA Cup is something I think that we might be able to get something out of this season. And from from where we were a week ago, that'd be great. Pradnia Wadki says, I be impatient with results with an ex-Red when we have wasted basically 6 years with 3 clowns? Hell no. Got to trust the United way of football. You're right, Pradnia, and as well, I think that people should be very, 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 very aware of that comment. But the reality is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is coming in a very, very difficult situation at Manchester United. He's inheriting a team that looks tired, that looks slow, that looks negative. He's halfway through the season. It's a difficult challenge for him, and I think we do need to have some level of reality. Although we're all very excited. Imrano TV says, joined late. What's the transfer boost, Mark? The transfer boost is that it's common sense really, but it's something that many of us hadn't thought about. It was reported by a French journalist called Julien Lorenz, who said he'd spoken to a couple of agents who have said about the Manchester United situation, it's a real game changer now, because there's a lot of talent that wouldn't have wanted to come to Manchester United with Mourinho in charge, citing Paul Pogba, Martial, how he's publicly humiliated them, how their careers have stalled. Talented players would not want to come and play for Manchester United because of Mourinho, whereas that's totally different now. All eyes are on Manchester United. Are United going to become an attacking team? And if they did, then those players would be interested in moves to Manchester United again. So it's a massive transfer boost to United, because I think no matter, I was saying this when Mourinho was here, I was very worried about us spending money in January, because what are we going to get? Because there will be players out there that would have been, I don't want to play for United, and quite rightly. AJ, I actually like this lager. I don't care. I'm not a snob. I'm not doing a Fortnite dance, Elliot. Right, start chucking me some questions. Let's get into what you like. I just want to say Angel Gomez is part of the Manchester United squad for tomorrow as well, and James Garner is as well. Gomez is to be honest with you, I would have expected Greenwood to be part of it tomorrow, because we do need a striker. I'm quite surprised that Greenwood isn't part of it, but they've gone with Gomez. I personally have to say that I'm not negative about anything at the moment, but I was slightly disappointed that it wasn't Greenwood, because obviously Lukaku's not there and we don't really have many striking options. And Rashford and Martial can obviously play up front, but we have Rashford and Martial are our only left-sided players as well. So you basically got 2 players for 2 positions. So if one of them gets injured, who's going to play? I think Greenwood probably should have been, in my mind, part of it, but he's not. What do we think of Alexis Sanchez as a striker, says Marcus the King? I think that's back open now. I think that we always knew that Mourinho was going to stick by Lukaku. Even though he needed to drop him, he always found his way back in the team. Hopefully with Solskjaer, the doors are open and the possibilities are open for everybody. And I would like to see Alexis Sanchez as the left back. It's Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. Not playing FIFA tonight. I'll be rubbish. I want to keep my pretty much I don't get beat record going, and a few beers does mess up at FIFA. Please do drop a like on the video, everybody. I want to get into some of your comments now. What a week it's been. What a week it's been. Jose Mourinho sacked on Tuesday morning. I was outside Old Trafford in the wet rain with my rubbish hair. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer appointed manager the next morning. Press conference today. Transfers are going to happen in January. It's just been an amazing week, and to think it started off with that humiliation at Anfield 5 days ago, it feels like the longest week ever. But absolutely, the thing I'm happy about the most is that I'd said this before Mourinho was sacked, that the whole club and the whole fan base can spin on this one decision, and all you've got to do is remove that negative figurehead of our football team and the whole thing will change. Even if it had just, I think Solskjaer has probably excelled beyond what I thought. I didn't think we could flip from such negativity to such positivity. It's fantastic. But even if they just put Michael Carrick in charge, I still think there'd be a lot of positivity. That one decision to get rid of him has made such a massive difference to United. It's absolutely fantastic. Jacob Mee says, Sir Alex is part-time director of football. I think Sir Alex Ferguson will have quite a lot of input on United over the next 6 months. I think, he sort of wants to be Yoda. He's a bit of a Yoda. And, fucking hell. That is, I never say this, but that is bloody brilliant from me. But, I do lots of little tangent stories, but that is the dog's bollocks. Luke Skywalker is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. R2-D2 is Mike Phelan. And Yoda is Sir Alex Ferguson. And that's the situation we've got. And is it Empire Strikes Back, where he's trying to get the X-Wing out of the swamp and it sinks back down because he's not quite ready? Or is it Return of the Jedi, Return of Solskjaer, and he is ready, and Yoda's just going to give him the final little bits to take on the Empire? I don't know. It's going to be one of the two. It's going to be Empire Strikes Back, where Ollie's not quite ready, or it's going to be Return of the Jedi, where he is. And Sir Alex Ferguson will be Yoda. You seek Yoda? No, that is Yoda. Yoda, you seek Yoda. Oh, Luke. Oh, wise one. Wise one. Feisty one. Anyway, Yoda is Sir Alex Ferguson. He is the ultimate Jedi Master. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Luke Skywalker, the one who needs to just get that little bit more to become the new best thing. So I think that's the situation with Manchester United. Nicholas P says, question, Ollie said everyone will get a chance. Does he include the Deadwood in that, do you think? I think he does. I think 100% he does include the Deadwood in that. And, it's very, very interesting. I saw a tweet today about Phil Jones. His contract's up in the summer. And United, I pretty much think they're going to announce a new contract for Phil Jones. And I think, as much as this positivity, bollocks, he should not be getting a contract. I don't care if Sir Alex Ferguson's the manager. I'm firmly against giving Phil Jones a contract. And I've always been very consistent about this. And the reality is, it doesn't matter how good, and then he said he is in the bedroom, how good Phil Jones is. He can be brilliant in the bedroom. I ain't going in it. I'm locking it and padlocking it. He can shout and beg me as much as he likes. But the reality is, it doesn't matter how good Phil Jones is on the pitch. And he isn't that good. But even if he was the best centre-back in the world, I'd still sell him. Because he's never fit for more than half of the season. And that's been for at least the last 4 years. It may even be 5. So for the last 4 seasons, he's not been fit for half a season. Waste of time. You can't build a team around a centre-back unless they're going to be playing most of your games. He should be gone, out the door. He's a waste of money. He's got to go. So, but I do think he'll get game time. He's part of the squad tomorrow. Pradnia Widke says, if things go right and Ollie stays next season, who would be the 5 players you'd want Ollie to sign and the 5 that you would want him to sell? Oh, it's a tough question, Pradnia. I mean, the 5 I'd want him to sell would be Ashley Young, Phil Jones, Marouane Fellaini, Matic and Valencia for different reasons, and I'd loan out Scott McTominay. Some I just don't like, some are just too old. Players I'd want to bring in, I want a CDM, I want a centre-back, I want a right midfielder, I want a striker. 4. I'm not greedy. 4. That'd be fine. Fellaini is Chewbacca, comes in when needed but not supposed to start on the battlefield, says Imrano TV. Red Baron says, who is Phil Jones in Star Wars? Always wants an analogy of what Lord of the Rings character Ollie is. Well, Phil Jones is Jar Jar Binks. Me's a crap! That's who Phil Jones is. And look, Phil, if you're watching, and I know some United players do watch the United Stand. 1, the United Stand is obviously banter. We do know what we're on about here. We do enjoy our football, but there is an element of banter. And 2, I'm joking, but you would be Jar Jar Binks. You would be Jar Jar Binks, because if you've ever seen Jar Jar Binks in the crappiest Star Wars film of all, Phantom Menace, in the battle at the end when he's just a calamity killing baddies by bloody luck, that is who he is. From the Lord of the Rings point of view, Gandalf is Sir Alex Ferguson, and I would say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to be Aragorn, hasn't he? Strider. He's got to be Strider. You know, he's not going to be bloody Frodo. And I know people think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looks a little bit like a Hobbit, but the Hobbits don't win it. It's Aragorn, isn't it? And so Gandalf would be Sir Alex, and Aragorn would be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the Lord of the Rings fans out there. Starlin Simons says, is Pereira the solution to every problem? You know, we might have to we might have a situation with Pereira where we've left it too late, and that's not going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault. You know, he might have already decided he's had enough. But I would love to see him getting some game time because he was brilliant on the US tour. Who's Fellaini? He can be R2-D2. Crap. How do you know United players watch the United Stand, Zane Khan? I'm not going to start being vain. Ollie's rubbish. He got Cardiff relegated. Blah, 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 blah. Yassan. Blah, 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 blah. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's rubbish because he got Cardiff relegated. Is that how life works then? Somebody who's very young and inexperienced goes into a job and fails, so we put them on the scrap heap. That's not how life works. He's already admitted himself that he learnt a lot from that. And you do learn from mistakes. How much do you think I've learnt in my lifetime from, mistakes or success? Success is great, but you do learn the most from your mistakes. Well, you should do. Some people don't learn from their mistakes and they keep making the same mistakes. So let me quantify, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes into United and makes the same mistakes, maybe he hasn't. But he doesn't strike me as the sort of person that hasn't learnt from his mistakes. And I always say this, you learn the most in life from the mistakes you make. They're learning experiences, 100%. And, AS Alexis is right. Liverpool fans get really irritated by this, but Klopp did get Mainz relegated. He also got them promoted. But more relevant with Klopp is that before he took the Liverpool job, he nearly got Dortmund relegated. He had an absolutely shite last season at Dortmund. And everyone goes on about how great he was at Dortmund. And he did do a good job. But he nearly got them relegated. And that was his last job before the Liverpool one. Matic is C3PO, says the initial topic. Yep, good one. Fellaini is Treebeard and says Red Bar. Oh yeah, Fellaini is definitely Treebeard in Lord of the Rings. We'll have to Fellaini in Star Wars is like an AT-AT without any weapons on it, just a slow plodding big thing. For example, Chris MC, bye. You've ruined it. I think I've seen you making comments for quite a while, and you make a stupid comment like that, and you get yourself blocked. Fucking vile. Talking about kids like that, you're a wanker, mate. Shisha Sandeep says, "Isn't there a super like button?" just ask people in the live comments to drop a like on the video if they're enjoying it. What do I think about Leon Bailey? Under average Savage, he's good. I think he's going to be one of those players in the next few years that will be one of the better players in the world. I'd love him at Manchester United. To be honest with you, I do like Pulisic, but I'd probably prefer Leon Bailey because he's quicker and he's a better finisher. Pulisic is sort of regressed a bit. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd probably prefer Jadon Sancho to Pulisic as well. Maybe it's the English, I don't know. But Pulisic is a good player, but I think there's going to be 3 or 4 players better than him over the next 5 years. Christopher Ali says, would you have Suso as a winger? I think there's better, to be honest with you. Who's Han Solo, says Zotti Moon. I'm Han Solo. No one else is Han Solo. I watch all time. I'm from Cardiff, says Jack Thomas. At least you get to watch the United stand, because Cardiff's a bit shit, isn't it? It really is. It's not great. It's not a great place to live. I'm only joking. I think Fellaini is a better striker than Lukaku, says DB Cooper. You're probably right. Pulisic is a fan of Manchester United, Fikri Yunus, but so was John Terry. You don't buy players just because they support United. I think Pulisic will end up at Liverpool anyway. That's what I really do think will happen. I think he's going to bring in Greenwood next game and rotate the younger guys into the next couple of games, says Luca P. I would hope so. Oz Rick says like the video. And Mark, out of the 4 players that you said we needed, who would you take if we could only get 2? Says Carmine. I think CDM, central defensive midfielder, is the number 1 position for me. I know that's a bit left field because a lot of you want centre backs and right midfielders and strikers, but for me, I think the centre defensive midfield position is fundamental to a successful side. Whether you look at Fernandinho at Man City, Kante obviously at Chelsea. Every team has got somebody in that position who is dynamic and can move the ball quickly. We don't. So CDM would be the number 1 position for me. Number 2, I'd be split. I think a centre-back would be nice, and I'd love a Koulibaly or a Skriniar. I really would. But I also think that maybe Bailly and Lindelof could be good enough for that. And then I think, well, do I want... CDM is essential. Do I want a centre-back or do I want a centre-forward? Or do I want a right midfielder who's an out-and-out winger? It's tough, but definitely CDM would be my first choice, to be honest with you. Flex is Boba Fett, says Ashley Hines. He's cool. He's cool. Matuidi's a little bit old, Joyce. Greenwood reminds me of RPP. Composed and takes his shots well. Oh, don't talk to me about Robin Van Persie. What a class player he was. I absolutely loved him. Anyway, who's excited about the match tomorrow? I mean, this, I've got to applaud the club. I've got to applaud the club because the decision to get rid of Jose was fantastic, and what they've done this week, even if it all ends in tears, at least we've had a few days of positivity because we've not had any this season. We've had 4 days of absolute brilliance. We've been so happy as a fan base, and if it all ends tomorrow because we're still shit and we stay shit, then at least we've had these 4 days. I can't wait for the game tomorrow. I'm so excited about it. I really am. Mark G says, I'm old enough to remember a young manager called Sir Alex Ferguson being sacked. He learned and turned out quite good at management. Give Ollie a chance. Exactly. To be honest with you, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably more suited to be a Manchester United manager now than he would have been if he'd gone to Cardiff and just been brilliant. And that sounds stupid, but what if he'd gone from Mould, very successful, Cardiff, very successful, maybe got them in the top 10 3 seasons in a row, then he takes the United job now, comes into the United job, very, very confident, and it all falls apart. You know, he's got no prior experience of failure. Failure is a driver to most successful people. And Solskjaer, because of that Cardiff experience, will be more driven and more wise because of it than he would have been if Cardiff had been a success and he'd come to United. You've got to experience... I mean, not everybody. I mean, you look at Pep Guardiola, he's not really had any failure and he's still very good. But a lot of successful people will have a failure in their background that has taught them a lot and driven them on. Nicholas P. Mike Phelan being back is reassuring. I think that is something Flex was on about on Wednesday morning about Mike Phelan. You know, his job is to be in the background, but he'll be massively fundamental in the background. I don't think there'll be wholesale changes very quickly though. I do think we will see people like Smalling, Phil Jones, Ashley Young, Matic, I think we will see them playing games, because I think Mata as well, which will please a lot of people, because I think it's about steadying the ship. Yeah, De Gea can be Han Solo, Erin Walton. Yeah, I agree with you. Manchester United need Poch. Poch is perfect, says James Williamson. I think there's... Look, I'm a big fan of Pochettino. I've already said I'd prefer Zidane, but that's a personal choice. I like them both. But I do think that there is a bit of an obsession with... Poch. Thanks for the contribution, Brandon Bezic. I'd love to see a front three of Martial, Rashford and Chong with someone like Milinkovic-Savic being signed. I don't know. Milinkovic-Savic has had a very, very, very bad season and a very bad World Cup. I'm sure he'll come back. I was a big fan of Milinkovic-Savic, but I was very surprised about how poor he was in the World Cup and how poor he's been this season for Lazio. And I do now have issues about whether he's quick enough for the Premier League. But if you're going to sign Milinkovic-Savic, I think you wouldn't want to pay anything more than 60 million, to be honest. Craig McCullough Games HD. I'm happy finally can watch the United games now, knowing more, no more part of the bus. Thank God, more attacking football. That's what it's all about. And old Brown A. Jose didn't learn from his failure at Chelsea. Again, you know, that's the thing that I'll always look back on with Jose Mourinho, and I don't really want to look back on it very often now because I want to look forward. But the one thing I have said about Jose Mourinho a couple of times this week is that Hakan, I'll have to read that in a minute. He didn't learn from Chelsea at all. I mean, there was almost like some of the quotes he was coming out with over the last few weeks. If you go back to his last few weeks at Chelsea, they were all almost the same. We're not in the right position. We'll be back in the top four by Christmas. I didn't get investment in the summer. The parallels of what happened, losing the dressing room, the parallels of what happened between Mourinho's last few months at Chelsea and his last few months at United were almost identical. And you think, the only person who actually lived that, I mean, we saw it in the press, but the only person who actually lived it was Mourinho. I mean, to make one mistake's bad enough, but to do it the same is really surprising. Really surprising. Hakan says that there's rumours going on that saying United are going to do a Benteke for Lukaku swap with Palace giving 20 million on top. Benteke is crap. That's a load of rubbish. I've fallen for a troll there. That is rubbish. Gobzilla says Goldbridge is C3PO because both are gold. Yeah, but I think C3PO's a homosexual, which is fine, absolutely fine. But I hope that's not what you're trying to say about me. Red Baron, not because I've got anything against homosexuals, but I am not one. Red Baron, I watch a lot of Liga and Real Madrid destroyed Jose's. I watched La Liga and Real Madrid destroyed Jose. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. But he did come back from La Liga and he did win the Premier League with Chelsea in his second season and they were quite good. I don't know. I think Chelsea destroyed Mourinho, but it's not my problem. Please do smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 100,000 likes or 1,000 likes. It's rain. I tell you what, this is what I bloody hate about the UK. I'm going to tell you something now. Every Christmas, it's mild and wet. Every frigging... And it's pissing it down again. It's been pissing it down all week. I mean, I'm not going to moan too much because United did sack Mourinho, but... From a Christmas point of view, I'm fed up of wet, mild Christmases. It's crap. It's not Christmassy. It really isn't. Pissing down with rain every December from 18th to the 30th. Crap, mild, rainy weather. It's shit. It really is. I'll tell you what, they should actually stop putting Christmas cards out with snowy scenes because I've been on this planet over 30 years and I've never had snow at Christmas. What they should have is wet, miserable, muddy fields on Christmas cards because that is what the UK is like. Moan over. Aaron Stone likes the rain. I like playing football in the rain. Rants is Palpatine, says Sean Berry. It's really raining out there now. You can almost hear it. 18 degrees and sunny in Malta. Yeah, but if you're from a warm climate, you're used to it. Blizzard storm in Norway, Night Whisper. You see, everything about Norway's brilliant. You've given us Solskjaer, and now you've got blizzard storms at Christmas. Is there anything bad about Norway? You're fucking... Norway is taking the W. Norway is on the W this week. Solskjaer, Manchester United manager, and blizzard snow conditions at Christmas. You're having it. You're having it large in Norway. Well done. It's the climate change, Mark, says Titty Dispensary. What a name. It was a good comment, but the name's even better. Titty Dispensary. I don't think it is climate change. It's always been pretty shit weather. I remember like 20, 30 years ago it being the same. It just always seems to rain at Christmas. And what normally happens is exactly a month after Christmas, so around January the 24th, you get really heavy snow. And you think, why can't Christmas just be moved back a month so we can get snow? Red Baron at Real Madrid, you could see his personality change. It's like he's given up and that's fire's burnt out. How many times did I say that about Mourinho though? He's not in love with football anymore. It's just a job. I've been saying that for 2.5 years. Obviously, we don't see him firsthand as a Chelsea or Real Madrid fan because we're not fans of that club. But at United, he was not the Mourinho I sort of saw in the first Chelsea stint. The fire had gone out and it had just become a job. KinZMW says, I don't think we should make any major signings. No point since Ollie is only interim. No point investing now just to ride the current team. Yeah, but Ollie's already said about that. You know, he will be consulted, but the club have got their own plans about who they want to bring into the club. So the club are going to make the signings. And this is the director of football role. Remember, it doesn't matter who the next manager is. We're not in a situation like that anymore. Whether it's Zidane or Pochettino, we don't need to wait for them to come into the club to buy players because they're not going to be the buyer of players anymore. That's what the director of football is going to be there for. So actually, it makes sense for United to sign in January. And the biggest reason we should sign in January, as I've said before, is because you can't waste a transfer window. You can't do it. I mean, if you want to move 5 players out in the summer and sign 5 players out, that's 10 deals. Like, we know, whatever you think about Woodward, he's not the quickest at deals. Do you really think we can do 10? What did we do last summer? Blind went, and we bought Fred and Delow. 3 deals in a whole summer. So you want to get rid of 4 or 5 players and buy 4 or 5 players. That's 10 deals. We'll never do it. So you've got to use January to try and at least pick up one of those signings. Maybe 2, maybe get rid of 1. Like Darmian's links with Lazio. We've got to use this transfer window 100%. Stephen Featley says, love the show. On a different subject, could you do a quick shout out to raise awareness about organ donation and encourage people to sign up to the donor register, as I've had 6 liver transplants from birth? Stephen, you should have dropped me an email. I would have done that, no problem. But thanks for the contribution. Yes, I mean, look, each their own. It's your own opinion. But look, there's somebody who's had 6 liver transplants since birth. There are people out there who have illnesses whereby they do need to have transplants. They don't last forever. When you've had a transplant, you're always going to need another one. So look, donor register is absolutely fantastic. If anything happens to you, your donors, your organs can be given to somebody else, and that's really important. So thanks for that contribution, Stephen, but also a very important message. It's worth thinking about. It's worth thinking about because if the worst happens, I'm sure most of us, depending on your beliefs, would want that to happen. Hamza Khan says, I would prefer Pochettino over Zidane. He's more long. Is he? Didn't know Pochettino was longer than Zidane. He has shades of Fergie, competing with big money teams and promoting youth. What do you think, Mark? I'm pro Zidane, but I'd be happy with either. I would be happy with either. Shivam says, Mark, what's your expectations for tomorrow? Think we'll see a difference in effort and team pressing tomorrow. Can't wait to watch us play again. I think that the game tomorrow that I think we're all excited about is just to see how United approach it. I mean, he's only had a couple of days training us, so miracles or whatever. But I think it's about how we approach the game. It's about whether we press. It's about how quick we move the ball. I'm very excited. I think we'll win 3-1. But it will be a tough game. Because even if United were on form, going to Cardiff, it's their cup final, they'll be up for it. So we should never expect to just go and roller coaster somebody, but I have a funny feeling we will. And Kins ZMW, fair enough. I hear your point that we can't waste a transfer market. Thanks for that contribution, mate. Nice of you to come back. Can't wait for Saturday, says Ryan Martin. Well, yeah, remember tomorrow we've got, I think it's a 5:30 kickoff, so we'll be live at 4:30 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first team. Very excited. Very exciting day tomorrow. Really, really, really looking forward to it. Joyce Payne, have you always supported Manchester United? I have always supported Manchester United. Obviously, liars and bitter bastards put other stuff out there, but I have. But to be honest with you, I don't actually have a massive problem with people who I'm not that person who really gives a shit about the Manchester United fan base and how long they've supported our club. It doesn't bother me. If somebody starts supporting United and they supported somebody else, what does it bother me? I don't give a shit. If they start buying the merchandise and stuff, they're putting more money into my club. I'm not a top red. I'm not in the top red club, and I never ever will be, because I'm not from Manchester, and that automatically makes you not a top red in many people's eyes. But look, this club is absolutely huge. It's got a fan base that is absolutely massive, and as far as I'm concerned, everybody who supports Manchester United is part of the United family, and I don't think there should be levels to support. Everyone's got an opinion. Have your say. Stephen Featley says, oh no, I've read that one already. I forgot Lee Grant. That beep noise is the fact that my dinner is ready, and I don't think anyone's going to come down and sort it, because they're all bloody watching EastEnders and shit like that, so I'm going to have to sort it. Mark, do you think Ruben Diaz would be good at Benfica? Don't really give a shit about Benfica. Who's your all-time favourite Manchester United player? Says James Portelli. I mean, all-time favourite player is Duncan Edwards, because that's one of the reasons I support Manchester United, because of my granddad and he loved him. I've been to his grave a couple of times in Dudley, but I never saw him play. So if you want to know my favourite player that I've seen play, it would be Roy Keane. And I think Roy Keane's a good lesson in the fact that, for me, I'd be starstruck if I met Roy Keane, because he was my favourite player on the pitch. But I don't agree with a lot of things he says off the pitch. And I think this is one of the things I always sort of try to say to people, is that, you know, heroes are heroes, but you shouldn't hang off every word. You shouldn't hang off every word, because if you hang off somebody's every word, then you're going to make mistakes, because they make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Everybody says something that's, you know, a bit stupid at time to time. And I think Roy Keane does say stuff that I don't agree with. But as a footballer, God, he had the lot. He had the lot. What car do you drive, Mark? It's a little bit personal, Nathan. United all the way, Mark. Ahmed. Thank you for the shout out. Means a lot, says Stephen Featley. No worries, mate. Ruben. Roy Keane talked about players' knobs. That was a fake quote. Anyway, I'm going to have to go and sort that out. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Anyway, and it's also nearly 9 o'clock. We've been talking for ages, but I really enjoy Friday Night Live. It's laid back. You can have a beer. It's a nice little chat. And I love Friday Night Live because it's a little bit more relaxed. And I think you need that going into the weekend. And what a week it's been. So please do drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, and get involved. Get your notifications on. Kenneth Hoagland says, thank you, United Stand, and Merry Christmas. Well, we've got loads more shows before Christmas. But if you have broken up today, have a good Christmas. And we will be back tomorrow for the match. It's a bit like Christmas tonight. I'm so excited about Manchester United tomorrow. It's just like we're going to see a whole new dawn. That's not a female thing. That's like a new day. Really excited about it. Speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.